For 8 long years, Brad Pitt did the unimaginable for a celebrity of his stature. He went silent. Not a word, not a defense, not even a hint of how the total collapse of his family had reshaped his soul. While the headlines argued for him or against him, while the internet chose sides in a war he never wanted, he simply disappeared into the noise, letting the world assume whatever it wanted. But now in 2025, after years buried under legal battles, fractured relationships, and a $500 million war over Chateau Miraval, the silence is finally breaking. And what is being revealed is not the anger of a scorned husband, nor the retaliation of a wounded ego, but the quiet, devastating truth of a man who has been living in the shadow of the most painful chapter of his life. But to understand why Brad Pitt is sitting alone today, to understand why his son Knox, his biological mirror image, refuses to look him in the eye, we have to go back to the beginning of the storm. Because the silence we hear from Knox today wasn't born overnight. It was born on the plane, years ago, and it has been growing in the dark ever since. When Brad Pitt first crossed paths with Angelina Jolie in 2003 on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, neither of them could have imagined the chain of events that would follow. It feels like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it? At the time, Brad was America's golden boy, still married to Jennifer Aniston. Angelina was the dark, enigmatic wild child who had just ended her marriage to Billy Bob Thornton. Their chemistry on set wasn't just palpable, it was dangerous. It drew intense media attention, turning every glance, every interview, and every unscripted moment into tabloid speculation. By 2005, when Brad and Jennifer finalized their divorce, the world had already constructed a narrative. And when Brad was photographed with Angelina and her son Maddox on a beach in Kenya, playing in the sand, that narrative exploded into something much larger than any of them could control. For the next decade, Brad and Angelina didn't just build a relationship, they built a kingdom. They captivated the entire world. They adopted Maddox from Cambodia, Zahara from Ethiopia, and Pax from Vietnam before welcoming their 3 biological miracles, Shiloh in 2006 and the twins, Knox and Vivienne, in 2008. Their home became a symbol of diversity and unity, a modern-day Camelot. The media labeled them Hollywood's model global family. We looked at them and saw perfection. We saw the red carpets, the humanitarian trips, the beautiful chaos of 6 children. But what outsiders saw as perfection was behind closed doors increasingly fragile. Between the demands of massive fame, the pressures of raising 6 children across multiple continents, and the constant blinding spotlight, the cracks began to show long before they were visible to the public. By 2008, seeking a sanctuary, Brad and Angelina had purchased Chateau Miraval for $28 million. This peaceful French state was meant to be their fortress. It served as both the family refuge and the birthplace of their highly successful Miraval wine brand. They lived there for 4 years, raising their children among the vines, nurturing the vineyard like another child. In 2014, they held a quiet wedding on the property with only close friends and their children present. For a fleeting moment, it seemed like a rare moment of stability in a turbulent world. But just 2 years later, everything collapsed. And this is where the story shifts from a fairy tale to a tragedy. This is where we find the root of Knox's silence. Angelina filed for divorce in September 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. What had once been a united family swiftly became the center of one of the most painful separations Hollywood had ever seen. But the breaking point didn't happen in a courtroom. It happened in the sky. The incident on the private plane. It is the ghost that haunts every headline today. It was a flight from France to the United States in September 2016. An incident occurred that would ignite an international media firestorm and redefine how the world viewed Brad Pitt as a father. According to documents later submitted by Angelina's legal team, Brad had been drinking. A verbal argument escalated. We have heard the reports of what allegedly happened, the yelling, the physical altercation, the fear in the eyes of the children. And this brings us to the present day, and the burning question that everyone is asking in the comments. Is Angelina Jolie banning Brad from seeing Knox? Is she the gatekeeper keeping them apart? Let's look at this with brutal honesty. Knox was there. He was on that plane. He was a child, yes, but children have eyes. Children have memories. And trauma, unfortunately, has a way of freezing time. When we talk about the Angelina ban, we're often stripping the children of their own agency. We assume they are just pawns being moved around a board by their mother. But Knox is 17 years old now. He's a young man. If Knox witnessed something on that plane, something that scared him, something that broke his trust in his protector, then Angelina doesn't need to ban him. His own memory serves as the barrier. There is a narrative that Angelina has poisoned the children against Brad, and perhaps in her pain, she has shared her side of the story. But you cannot poison a well that was already dry. If Brad's actions on that flight were as damaging as reports suggest, then the distance we see today isn't a result of manipulation. It is a result of consequence. For 8 years, Brad stayed silent about that day. He focused on his sobriety. He focused on his work. He focused on rebuilding himself. And by all accounts, he has done the work. He is sober. He is healthier. He is trying to be a better man. But apologies are tricky things. You can offer them, but you cannot force someone to accept them, especially when that someone is your son, who watched his family fall apart in real time. The tragedy of the Angelina ban theory is that it gives us a villain to blame. It is easier to say she is keeping them apart than to admit he pushed them away. But look at Knox today. He walks with his mother. He protects his mother. He stands by her side. That isn't the behavior of a hostage. That is the behavior of a volunteer. He has chosen his side. Brad Pitt's silence for these 8 years was likely an attempt to protect the children from the media circus. But in that silence, a chasm grew. And now, as he tries to reach across it, as he tries to reconnect with Knox and Vivian before they turn 18, he is finding that the bridge might be burned. We see Brad now entering this new chapter of his life, perhaps looking for redemption. He has the winery battle, yes. He has the new girlfriend, yes. But does he have peace? Can a father truly have peace when his biological double, his son Knox, treats him like a stranger? The story of Brad and Angelina isn't just about a divorce. It is a story about the long, lingering shadow of a single moment. That plane ride didn't just end a marriage, it ended an era. And for Knox, it seems to have ended the idea of his father. So when we look at the photos of Knox looking stoic next to Angelina, and we look at the photos of Brad looking wistful in Tokyo or Los Angeles, we're seeing the two ends of a broken line. The silence between them is loud, it is heavy, and it is filled with 8 years of unspoken hurt. Is it possible to fix it? Can Brad's new openness, his willingness to finally speak, change the narrative? Or is history already written? As we watch this family continue to navigate their separate paths, we have to ask ourselves a difficult question. Do we believe in second chances? And more importantly, does Knox? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think the Angelina ban is real, or is Knox's distance a direct result of what he remembers from the past? Is it time for the children to forgive, or are some wounds too deep to heal? Let's talk about it in the comments. This is a story of human fragility, of mistakes, and of the desperate hope for reconciliation. Thank you for listening and for looking deeper than the headlines with me. See you in the next video.